For decades, Ed Asner has graced audiences with his humor and talent. Asner and his family just debuted Camp Ed, part of the Ed Asner Family Center, where children and adults with special needs learn about the arts.
And Camp Ed is a little bit of heaven to me.
It's so attractive about the Ed Asner Family Center is that they have programs not just for our kids or young adults, the people that have special needs, but also for their families.
I think the best way of describing the center is to envision an old school community center where the entire family goes on the weekends or after school, and the entire family really has something to do under this one roof. And we, as parents of 3 autistic boys, this came from the need of our own personal perspective of having to schlep around the entire city from enrichment here, enrichment there, a therapy here, never once factoring in something for ourselves. Because as special needs parents, you get into a mode of really putting your head down and getting through each day. And I wanted to create a place where parents weren't just enduring or existing. They were flourishing and thriving and getting the enlightenment and joy and enjoying their children and not feeling like there was no hope.
My father found acting and performing arts, and it saved his life. It gave him the ability, the self-confidence to move through life and to find out who he was. And without that juice, without that stuff, I really don't think it would have happened for him. And he'd be the first person to say that. So the arts saved his life. So the Ed Asner Center, the Ed Asner Family Center, is him giving juice back to the community.
I find that art is the most fundamentally human thing that we do. Like, other cultures might build cities or some speak other languages, but humans are the only animals that make art. And it's something that even neurodivergent people do. And the Ed Asner Center gives students a safe place in which they can communicate and express themselves and be more human, and also get the feedback and support they would need in order to become more successful artists, which can propel them in other elements of their lives.
Okay. The arts are extremely important because it's a different way to connect. You had Joanne Lara teaching dance class. My son takes the dance class every week. And most of the time, you know, it's kind of rote for him, but there are other times where you can see that he's got down a turn move or something else. And he knows he got it, and everybody else knows he's got it. And he feels so good about himself. And it's such a good feeling for you as a parent that he's expressed himself, that he's learned something.
I think that the arts are so important because they're kind of like a window into the soul, you know, and I think that certainly for my child, the arts were a way in, and from there, it was life-changing. You know, she grew in ways that I couldn't even imagine, in ways that they told me she never would.
Most of them have so much creativity, and it's not really being used or seen or explored or developed or any of that. So it's a huge gift. It's a huge gift.
Well, less than 45% of autistic adults are employed, which is actually lower than the national average for otherwise disabled people. So I think that the Ed Asner Center's mission to specifically employ neurodivergent people is really fundamentally important, and it's part of representing the community from a place of sincerity.
It's a very, very strong part of my personal passion and doing what I'm doing is to allow parents who couldn't afford mental health support to receive low and no cost mental health support.
In the autism community and the special needs community, you have a 90% divorce rate, you have a 50% bankruptcy rate. And you know, these are very serious problems on top of what you're going through trying to do what you can to help and support your child. So I applaud what you're doing, and I'm really excited about the start that you've made.
We get lost in caring and nurturing for everybody else, and we forget about ourselves. And the truth of the matter is that unless you take care of yourself, unless you're good, you're not good to anybody else.
This is a big deal, and this is, I think, the beginning of like what the world needs on the special needs level with the families, so that everyone can grow up in a place that's actually productive and not falling apart. Because right now, most families I know are falling apart.
It's built out of our experience and our desires and our needs. And what we saw was lacking in this crazy world that we live in. We want to expand. We don't want this to be the only center. This should be in every community in America. This should be all around the world. We should be providing people with arts enrichment and vocational enrichment and mental health services all around the world. This should be something that we all get to take for granted.
We want to continue the magic, and we can't do it without your help.